Hey there, Rambler fans. Welcome to this week's edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Trisha McCauley.
And I'm Lydia Deku. I can't believe it's almost spring break. Do you have any crazy spring breakers type plans?
Who, me? No. I'm working in Chicago for a bit before I go back home to Ohio, where it's even colder.
Oh gosh, good luck. Well, I'll be in Chicago working too, but daydreaming of California weather. For now, let's get back to reality with an update on this week's sports. Loyola's men's basketball team won against the Drake Bulldogs Wednesday night 80-75 after going into overtime with this victory. The team clinches the number 6 spot for next week's Arch Madness quarterfinals. This means they don't have to compete in the play-in games. It was back and forth all game, but in overtime, Ben Richardson and Jeff White hit big shots to solidify the win. Christian Thomas and Earl Peterson scored 20 points each, leading the way for the Ramblers. Jacob Invold scored 21 for the Bulldogs and didn't miss a single one of his 9 shots. The Ramblers play Missouri State on Saturday in Gentile Arena at 3 o'clock.
The men's volleyball team stayed perfect last week as they beat Penn State last Saturday in 4 sets. The Nittany Lions opened the first set with a 6-4 lead, but the Ramblers dominated from there on. Ben Playstead helped the Ramblers regain the lead by drilling a line in the face, and good defense from Cody Caldwell and Jeff Jendrick extended the lead. One of Caldwell's 12 kills helped the Ramblers clinch the set 25-16. The Nittany Lions took an early 4-1 lead in the second set, but Thomas Jeske went on a rampage after that as he led a 16-5 Loyola run. The Nittany Lions attempted a comeback, but not today, says Thomas Jeske, a vicious block to go along with 13 kills as the Ramblers take the second set 25-19. The Ramblers took a 10-7 lead in the early third set thanks to Ben Playstead, who mixed it up here with a teardrop kill. It was all Nittany Lions from there who rode several of Jalen Penrose's 10 kills and Aaron Russell's 12 kills to take the set 25-20. The Nittany Lions continued their comeback in the fourth set as they staked an early 12-7 lead. Back-to-back blocks by Owen McAndrews sparked a Rambler rally, and Ben Playstead added another of his team-high 14 kills to keep the Ramblers up for good. Loyola took the final set 25-19. The Ramblers look to stay undefeated as they host Quincy and Lindenwood later this week.
The Ramblers track and field team had a record-breaking meet this past weekend at Alex Wilson Invitational. The men's distance medley relay team set a new score record with a time of 9:34.14, but fell short of the NCAA championship bid. Brianna Walker beat her own record with a time of 24:49 in the 200-meter race, and Allison Ciccone also broke a school record in shot put of mark of 15:23 meters. This weekend, the Ramblers will travel to Cedar Falls, Iowa for the Missouri Valley Conference Indoor Championship.
Let's step aside from our usual sports and talk about something different.
Like what?
Extreme hula hooping.
It's something most people partake in their childhood, but members of Loyola's hula hooping club called Loop take this childhood activity to the extreme. Rambler Sports Locker's own Emma Bice has a natural knack for it.
I've been hula hooping for about a year now. I started when I realized that our campus had a club and I really wanted to learn because I had seen it a couple times before. I'm sponsored by a hoop company, so I get free hula hoops, so that's really cool. I teach workshops. I get to travel the country sometimes and teach small workshops. I get paid to do what I really love to do.
I learned it's not as easy as it looks.
And then you move your shoulders in a shimmy motion, and that brings it up. So, switch. Yeah, almost got it. You're kind of like.
The Loop welcomes people of all hula hooping levels.
We meet once a week, we teach new people workshops, and we do perform from time to time. It's a really great club, and I've become really close with some of the girls that I work with on it.
For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Christina Carbonara.
Wow, that's impressive. I want to try it.
Now we travel back in time to 1968. Alfredo Rodriguez talks about Wilt Chamberlain and his historic achievement.
This week in history, in 1968, Will Chamberlain became the first NBA player to reach 25,000 points at the age of 31. Known as Wilt the Stealth for his 7-foot and 1-inch frame, Chamberlain played college basketball for the University of Kansas. Chamberlain had to wait 1 year before playing professional basketball due to the NBA rules. That year, he played with the Harlem Globetrotters before landing into Philadelphia in the Warriors in 1959. Chamberlain played his first professional game in New York City against the Knicks, where he scored 43 points. One of his most famous moments came in 1962, when in March of that year, he became the first player in NBA's history to score more than 100 points in one game. That same year, Chamberlain stayed with the Warriors as they moved to San Francisco. In 1965, Chamberlain returned to Philadelphia, this time to play for the 76ers, with whom he won the NBA championship in 1967. The next year, Chamberlain left to Los Angeles to play with the Lakers, whom he helped in winning the 1972 NBA championship. For This Week in History, this is Alfredo Rodriguez.
Thanks, Alfredo. Man, now I'm feeling nostalgic. Remember last March when Milton Doyle scored that 3-pointer at Arch Madness last year?
Of course I do. Everyone remembers that amazing shot he scored at the last second of the game. Let's take a look.
4.8 seconds left. Loyola down 1. O'Leary inbounds the pass to Thomas, who gets it up to Milton Doyle, heaves up a prayer. That's answered. Doyle beats the buzzer, gives the Ramblers a 74-72 lead, and nobody can believe what just happened.
What a great game.
Well, it could happen again. Arch Madness is right around the corner. 10 men's basketball teams from the Missouri Valley Conference, including our very own Ramblers, will head to St. Louis for the tournament that takes place March 5th through 8th. Good luck, guys.
Hey Lydia, what do you get when you combine a little friendly competition and the Loyola Ramblers?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Let's bring it on over to Blake Keller to find out more.
Welcome to the 2015 mock tournament.
Go Ramblers!
Go Ramblers!
Go Ramblers!
Go Ramblers! Go Ramblers!
What a great turnout for this year's mock tournament. Thank you to everyone who attended, and congratulations to the Ramblers on their well-deserved win. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Blake Keller.
That sure was a great mock tournament. I wonder if the Ramblers will dominate the competition in Missouri. Be sure to follow Rambler Sports Locker to stay up to date on all things Arch Madness.
Most people associate February with Valentine's Day, but it's all heartbreak for Chicago. Derrick Rose and Patrick Kane are both done for the season. Find out which team our contestants think will be hurting more on the Weekly Ramble.
Hey y'all, and welcome to this week's episode of the Weekly Ramble. I am your host, Milat Mehta, and here on the Rambler Sports Locker, we take serious matters very seriously. So let's just have a moment of silence for two huge injuries that happened in the city of Chicago. That is Derrick Rose's ACL and my ego after his ACL was burst. Some Blackhawks guy got hurt too, apparently. Anyways, so we have two big teams within Chicago that have lost some of their best players. So let's find out which team is going to suffer more. Maria, let's start with you.
Well, Milop, first off, hockey. Easily the best sport around, we'll just say that. But Patrick Kane, the top scorer of the Blackhawks, is out for about 12 weeks. He got injured in the first period of Tuesday's game against the Florida Panthers. Alex Petrovnik cross-checked him in the boards, and he just went down, and he was out for the game. He just had surgery for a left clavicle fracture, and it's about a 12-week recovery period. So it's going to be pretty tough. But his absence is going to definitely affect the team. It's going to affect, a lot of people come just to watch him play.
No, definitely.
And overall, it's a shame.
I get you. And I also apologize for not introducing our guests. So we have our defending champion, Maria Shitkowski, and our challenger, Isra El-Helwani, and she is going to take the Derrick Rose side, it looks like.
So basically the Bulls have got to be more devastated than the Hawks because even though D. Rose has been gone for a 1.5 season, he's still shown that he's a leader of the team. And just in the last game against Cleveland, he scored 30 points before the All-Star break. And the Bulls are in the middle of the Eastern Conference, and they really believe this was the chance, him being back on the team would take them back to the playoff series. And just at the end of the day, he's the most dynamic player, and he's the most accomplished fourth quarter scorer. Now the meniscus tear in the same right knee that caused him to step away from all but 10 games last season is causing them to worry because nothing is for sure when he'll be able to come back. But one thing we all should keep in mind is that this injury is not as extensive as the initial injury from last season. But since it's in the same place, it might take longer for him to recover. And if he chooses to play, then...
well, it looks like he's done for the year, so that's not even really a question right now.
I don't think so. I think,
They're probably going to shut him down. So now, Maria, you did mention that Kane was a really big loss, but... this team has already won 2 championships. Can't they just bring up the next best guy since they all know how to win?
Well, when you have a city that takes so much pride in the past, 2 Stanley Cups in the past 5 years, it's really hard to lose such a significant player when you got the city crying for another Stanley Cup. Got to get at least 5. But, Kane in general, he's tied for the NHL lead over greats like Sidney Crosby, Pavel Datsyuk, Alexander Ovechkin. He leads with 64 points and has 27 goals and 37 assists. So he's about 20 to 30 points over any other Blackhawks player. And I'll just say hockey players in general are way tougher than basketball players. We look at LeBron James.
Okay, we're going to end it right there. And I don't even think that he's the best player on the team. Isn't that Taves? But
no, Taves.
Isra. So, Derrick Rose going down is huge. His injury does seem pretty severe right now. But this year he's been, the 4th best player on the Bulls? Aren't they going to be okay when they still have their top 3 guys right now in Joakim, Jimmy, and what's his name? Joakim, Jimmy, and Pau, our Spaniard friend.
Well, that's true. His averages have gone down since last season, but people have to remember that he's always going to remain the leader of the team, and also that he was the first pick of the 2008 NBA draft. It takes a while for the athletes to get back, but we see Brookwell from the Oklahoma team. He just took his 3rd surgery in his meniscus, and he's on the running to be MVP again. So he was able to recover from it. So D. Rose coming back on, I know for sure, if he recovers from this, maybe not this season, but next season, he'll be able to get back to that level that he was at. People just need to, that's why the Bulls are holding out for him. They're not trying to replace him or anything. They're going to hold out for hope.
Yeah, but there's 3 top guys. I think the Westbrook situation, Rose situation is a little bit different, but now you two are going to end up having to, duke it out to see who wins, rebut each other's arguments. Maria, let's start with you.
Should I go first?
Yep.
All right, well, first of all, Kane is only 26, a youth superstar, if you will, for hockey. He was also the first overall draft in 2007, picked by the Blackhawks. he is 20 to 30 points ahead of Taze, who is captain, and the other 2 assistants. Without him hurt, they need to add other players, which is just going to throw off their whole team. He's out through the playoff season, so he won't even be allowed to come back until the Western Conference Finals, if the Blackhawks even make it that far. Being a team that actually has a chance of winning a championship in the city, they really need a player, and they're going to take a really hard hit because of this loss.
All right.
Well, I don't think the Hawks team is going to suffer that great a big of a hit because Kane was injured last season, and we saw that they did completely fine. They managed to get points. He missed the final month of the regular season, but they still were able to win without him. So he's just something, I feel like he's replaceable. As for D. Rose, he's 2008 NBA draft. He was the youngest ever to get MVP honors at age 22. He's also 26 years old. So they're both in the same youth ballpark. And I know his averages have gone down, but not by too much, only by 2 points. 22 averages, shots in a game, it went down to 18.5. That's really not that big of a difference. He just needs a little bit more time to maybe work out more once he's physical therapy, allows him to do that. Because I know he wasn't able to work out because of his knee stuff. So.
Amen to that. Or might be preparing for his kid's graduation. Who knows? Who knows? These were some pretty interesting points. I liked the different perspectives they took. But I think the kicker is really who's more valuable to their team in this question. And I think Marie did a slightly better job of showing that Kane was the leader in a bunch of categories. I still am not convinced that Derrick Rose is the key to the Bulls team, like Kane might be to the Hawks. But that was a phenomenal ramble, and now we're going to head it back to you at the desk.
It was really sad to see those guys go down. I mean, why Chicago? The city is just so lovable.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to throw the perfect boomerang toss? Well, this guy does, and he handcrafts the boomerangs himself. Let's take a look at this week's viral video.
This is built back in 2009, named after my daughter. It's a nice flight. You don't even have to move from the spot you stand.
Wow, look at that arch. What madness. Well, that's all the time we have today. To all the lucky kids going to Florida for spring break, stay warm for us. I'm Lydia Deku.
And I'm Trisha McCauley. Make sure to follow us on all the handles below, and don't forget to turn out the lights.